Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's vlog, come along with me as I take part in a 24-hour hackathon here at Google. So let's talk about the hackathon. So this is actually a Gen AI hackathon held especially for all the new grad Nooglers under the cloud org. There was no particular theme restriction and it's a 24-hour hackathon right here in office starting from 12 p.m. today to the next day's 12 p.m. Post which we would have the presentations and the results and all of that. So before I start my day, I decided to quickly grab some breakfast. So this hackathon is meant to be taken part in as teams of size 4 to 5, and since my team has taken in quite a few new grads, we decided to team up and take part together. And since our managers are aware we are taking part in this hackathon, we weren't expected to work during this duration. We decided to book a meeting room to focus and get things started. So the very first thing for us was to finally decide what are we going to create. So since this is an internal hackathon and they didn't really give us a theme, it kind of made it harder to choose, but we had spent some time in the last 1-2 days to brainstorm and come up with our initial ideas. Our current step right now was to go over our ideas and decide exactly what did we finally want to do, what elements to keep, and finalize a basic structure of how our product would look like, along with how we wanted to implement it. We decided to take a break and grab some lunch before we start working, and if I'm being honest, our chill level was a solid 10 on 10 at this point, and we thought it would be pretty easy to finish all of this in like a few hours and then we could have fun. Okay, while we get started on work, allow me to briefly explain what the idea we had finally decided on was. So we wanted to create something that makes lives of managers easier. So a manager needs to keep track of a lot of things, right? At a reportee level, they need to know what every single reportee's projects look like and how much progress have they made, what challenges are they facing, and like one-on-ones they have. At a team level, they need to keep track of what the overall team status looks like, how the progress, performance, and if there are any production issues, etc. And finally, for the bigger picture, how does all of this map to the org's OKRs and goals, and what's the progress like that on that note. So basically keeping track of all of these things is way harder than it looks because all of these things are happening in different contexts and with so many meetings, and all this data is scattered around in many formats and much harder to keep track of, which led us to our idea where what if we have a single unified place for a manager to be able to keep track of everything in an automated manner related to his team. Our next step is how do we plan to do this, but before that, a quick progress update. We decided to take a break after working for like 2 hours and go get some snacks. In terms of the project, we have our dashboard ready by now, but it was static and we still needed to work on the main part, which was processing all of that data and making it into what we needed the manager to actually see on the dashboard. So we went back to keep our extra fuel and went to collect our participation swags, t-shirts. So we're back again and we have stocked up enough food and drinks to keep us powered through for at least the next few hours. Okay, in the meanwhile, let me show you how our dashboard looked like. But reminder, all of the data that you'll see here is synthetic because of privacy reasons. So as a manager, on the left side, you will be able to see every reportee that works under you and a brief summary on what their project updates look like. You also have a detailed summary doc which captures in detail progress about every single project you've worked on so far in the year and also highlights from your one-on-ones. On the right side, you get to look at your team level updates per month. So this would include things like what is the overall summary for that month, were there any issues, were there any recognitions given, were there any new feature launches, etc. And below it, finally, you have the OKR level or goals level progress. The next question is, how do we plan on generating all of this? At a high level, we were pulling a lot of data to provide context to our prompts, including code changes, bugs, tickets, design documents, meeting notes, meeting transcripts, expectation and OKR documents, etc. to build the entire picture for the model. So our chill level by now had become a solid 5 out of 10, because initially we had thought, oh, we know what data to pull and we would just have to create prompts. But when we started implementing, we realized that 1, creating prompts isn't that easy, and 2, fetching all of this data isn't easy either, because since a lot of this data is sensitive and given we only had 24 hours, being able to fetch this data programmatically wasn't straightforward, especially because of the access issues that came along with it. Okay, so it's 8:30 p.m. and we had been working for a while now, so we decided to go get some dinner even though we weren't very hungry, because dinner closes around 9 p.m. So usually very few people stay around this late, but because of the hackathon, a lot of new grads were around. After dinner, there was some music and other events planned for us. We didn't stick around for long because our chill level was at 3 out of 10 now, and so we decided to go back up and continue working. So around 1 am, it was finally time for the main reason why so many of us had stayed back, the pizza party. We do get pizza every day in our 7th floor cafe, but there was something entirely different about this pizza at 1 am. It was 5 am by now and we were all half dead, and we had started working on the presentation part. The reason it had taken us so long was it took us a while to realize that we also need to tie things together, because some of us were working on the dynamically data fetching part, some of us were working on the prompts, and some of us were taking care of the dashboard. But piecing it together into a single product and completing the pipeline was still required. So there was so much left that we still wanted to create and add, but since all of us were almost dead by now, we had to stop here and call it a night. So we went down to the transport team and got our cabs assigned, and by the time we left office, it was pretty late. Actually, it was pretty early in the morning, because we just had a few hours to catch up on some sleep before we came back again for the presentation. Okay, so it was the next morning by now, and I was surprised I was even able to function because I barely got 3 hours of sleep. We did our final runs of the presentation few minutes before it was our slot, and finally presented it to the panel. Our team did not win, but this was my first hackathon ever, and I learned a lot and had double the fun. But I still could not sleep yet because I had a farewell dinner party to attend. And that's it for today. Bye.